Hey y'all, welcome to Watching Paint Dry with Laura. Thank you for sharing your day with me as I continue my adventure in acrylic art pouring. I've been experimenting with lots of different things here lately, and I've decided that I think I want to get good at one thing, or try to get a kind of good at one thing before I experiment with lots of different other types of pouring. So I'm going to do a flip cup. I'm going to be using this canvas is 12 by 16. It's a canvas that I've previously poured on. It's not a horrible end result if you're looking at the basic lines of it, but I had way too much paint on my canvas, and so I had to pour off all of my colors, my blues, turquoise, and purples that I had on here, and all I was left with was the center. It's not horrible, but it's not something that I want to, that I would put my name on and hang up in my own house or give away to a friend. So therefore, I'm going to pour over it. It's not as vibrant as it was because I have poured over this before. In fact, I did last night with an experiment, which I enjoyed. You may see it on YouTube, you may not, just kind of depends. It was an experiment and it turned out really well in the beginning, and after I turned off the camera as it was drying, I noticed a couple of things that I didn't like, and in typical Laura fashion, I tried to fix them. So needless to say, I scraped that paint off, and we're going to use this canvas again since we are kind of experimenting, practicing, getting better at least one thing. So I'm using the On Treadmill silicone lubricant in my paints today, and everything except the gold. I want to have cells come up through here, and I would like to have at least one painting where I purposefully set out to make cells and they actually turn out looking like cells and not overstretched, odd-shaped alien babies. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be doing. YouTube has been kind of weird with the music, even though I use royalty-free music. So there won't be any music on this video. So it'll just be me talking, and when I'm not talking, it's because I'm concentrating, because I would like to get better at this. And so you can just feel free to fast forward. I'll be fast forwarding through some of it when I edit. You're not going to hurt my feelings. All of my paints are, the details of my paints will be in the description. All of my paints are, the pouring medium I'm using is the Elmer's glue wall and water. 2/3 glue, 1/3 water, and they are equal parts paint to pouring medium, except for the white. My Artist Loft paint is 1.5 parts paint to 1/2 part pouring medium. So I have 50% more paint than pouring medium in the white. I think I explained that right. Yeah, that makes sense in my head. But as we know, my head holds lots of different things that make sense. So okay, I'm gonna get started. 2 drops in each one of the colors except for the gold. No silicone oil in the gold. Enjoy, y'all. Just mixing the silicone oil up into my paint so that way I don't have an oil slick on top of my paints. I haven't wanted to use silicone oil in the past because when sealing them, the silicone oil basically repels any kind of varnish or resin. Y'all, I ordered some resin. So when I try that for the first time, I'll be sure to videotape it so you can watch that catastrophe, I'm sure. Because with resin, you have to be very precise and very intentional in what you do. And most of my stuff, anything good, happens kind of by accident. So anyway, the silicone oil repels varnish and resin, so you have to clean your canvas really well. And so I've been a little bit afraid to use the silicone oil because I varnish my paintings right now with a spray varnish. But I'm hoping when the resin comes, the resin will give it more of the look that a painting has when that blue feels really thick. Okay. No, we're gonna go. It's good. We're gonna go with it. I know, it's that little voice in the back of my head that I keep saying I'm gonna listen to. One of these days I will. We'll see what happens today. Today is obviously not that day. What was I talking about? Oh, I use a spray varnish on my paintings to seal them right now, currently. But the resin, I'm hoping, will give it the wet look that paintings have. So if you hear pounding, scraping, or general violent noises, that's my husband. He is just off my window here a few feet, and he is out again today creating manly things with fire and metal. Okay, so we're gonna do a flip cup. And I can hear the knocking of my canvas. It is not level. I would put something under it right now, but it would be useless because I'm gonna move the canvas around. So when it dries, I will put a popsicle stick underneath it to make sure it doesn't rock, because if it's not level and one side is lower than the other, as it's drying, the paint will gradually just move right off the canvas. And I don't want that. Even though this is practice, I don't want that. Okay, let's get to layering. Feel free to pass forward. Feel free to fast forward, as I said, during this process. So hopefully I won't get too much spillage when I flip them over. Let's just move all these off the canvas though before I try to tint this one. Here goes. Oh, not too bad. I want to get a little bit more come out of it than I really would have liked, but oh well. Okay, I'm gonna let these sit for a few seconds, 30 seconds or so. Okay, here we go. Here goes nothing. I want to lift but drag fairly quickly so that I get as even as I can, an even portion of paint, line of paint down this part of my canvas, as even as I possibly can. Y'all know nothing rarely works, so here we go. Fingers crossed. Oh, it's not horrible. I'm gonna lose it all on the edge. Come back, come back, come back. Okay. Number 2. little bit left in the bottom of each one of the cups, so that's good. It'll give me something to put around the corners if I feel like I need them. Loving these colors. Don't see a lot of the gold coming through. So, oh well, we'll see what happens. Normally I am a stripey girl, y'all know this. I like stripes in my paint, but I'm not really going for that look right now. But I'm just putting this paint on the corners to help it, along the edges, just to help this paint move. I want cells, preferably pretty little round cells. Love that cerulean blue in here. Now I'm not putting the paint back up here in the middle. That is one thing I have learned from past mistakes. I'm so proud of myself. Because if you put paint, the stripy paint in here, you can't tip that off. Here, the edges, I know for sure it's going to be tipped off. Up here, it could possibly not be tipped off. So I am loving pretty much everything in the way it looks. I'm not real crazy about this right here. Checking the paint over here to see what's still pouring off the canvas. So I'm going to turn this around. We're going to tilt in this direction first so that I can tip this part that I don't like off. Once I tip one side, I'll torch it high above and in circles. Remember that, Laura, high above, so I don't get funny looking cells. I've got some forming already. But I want to tip this off first. If I tip it off, if I tip down here where the most of the paint is, and do that first, because you naturally think, or how I used to think, it's already down here. Let's go ahead and tip this off. All I'm doing is stretching this part that I don't like over the majority of my canvas. So here we go. Some people try to keep the cups, the swipes in line. I have given up that control a long time ago because I'm just not conventional. Nothing rarely turns out the way I want it to. We'll go, since we're done here, go off this corner, bring it back, go off that corner. Okay. Bring the weight of the paint back. Okay, ooh, it's heavy on this side. Okay. Just get paint on my kitchen floor. Not good. But the magic eraser will get out acrylic paint off a tile. I know this for a fact. It will not get it out of curtains. We will not discuss how I know that. But a magic eraser will get dried on acrylic paint off of tile. Okay, I have a new torch, so I have to be careful. It blows like Satan's breath. It's so powerful. So I'm going to do up high and in slow circles. The heat of my torch heats up the oil that's in the paint, brings it to the surface, and creates the cells we're looking for, or at least I'm looking for. And it's a gradual event. If I get too close, I'm going to get funny looking clusters of cells. Shoot, I got too close there. And I get these little caterpillar things that always show up in the middle of this canvas. It's never on the edges that you can easily take off. This over here is a caterpillar. I'm just not a big fan. And I'm doing this after my first tilt. Because I want to overstretch these. If I'd done this first, before I tilted that little bit, my cells would have gotten all out of shape. See, like these cells that formed before I even torched, see how they have gotten elongated? Because as I was moving the paint down, so all of my cells would look like that if I had torched first. And so I want these little bitty cells that are coming up that I can stretch and make larger as I'm tilting my canvas. Turn the flame down a little bit so I get a little closer and be more, hopefully a little more exact. Stay away from that cluster over there. Looks like a bunch of little alien babies. I'm really not even trying to pop bubbles right now. That's how far away I'm trying to stay. Just wanting to heat up the surface of the paint. Not to dry it or create a crust, but just to bring up that oil to get some different colored cells that come through. Okay. These are probably too tiny for y'all to see, but I've got some really cute little cells that I hope, pray, fingers crossed, that I can keep and make larger. And the cells I'm looking for are not just a solid color coming up through the paint, but something with rings around it. Some people like perfectly round shaped cells. I'm not so worried about that. If the cells kind of come together and make little triangles or oblong cells, I'm okay with that. I'm trying to get better at not having these elongated, overstretched cells. That is what I'm working towards. We shall see if it happens. Okay, these are getting a little bigger. Those are getting a little bigger. Got some gold ones coming up here. I really wanted more of that gold to come through. Maybe with the Mont gold, I don't need to make it thinner, thicker, like I need to do for the Deco Art Americana 24 karat gold. It's experiments all around. We shall see. I'm loving the dark blue coming through here. Loving, loving, loving that. Just that contrast. And the swirls. The aqua blue. That's kind of an aqua green color to me. I like the contrast of that. The Cerulean is probably one of my favorite colors. But I know in my acrylic, I'm noticing in my acrylic pours, it's a little dull looking. It's not as bright. Maybe that'll change. We'll see. Okay, I've put it off. I have delayed as long as I possibly could. Here goes nothing. Let's tip away. I want to rock back and forth, not be impatient, Laura. And going back and forth, what that does is it stretches the cells out gently instead of just in one solid direction. So they try to keep more of their round shape as opposed to becoming overstretched. That's what I'm hoping. Come on, paint. Some of it's over. Some of it's not. So I want to add that little corner paint to help the paint go over, but I'm always cautious because then I end up with corners that look weird. Okay. Now, turn this around so you can see, because I know you can't. I've got a different camera angle. I'm trying to work on my lighting. Amazon does not consider my acrylic painting projects essential, so it's taking some time for the lighting to come in. But I have ordered to help make these better so you don't get such a glare. So I have my camera set up a little differently in hopes. And okay, these are starting to get a little stretched out, so as much as I'd like to get rid of that, I should come back and move the weight of the paint back to the middle. Okay, you know what? It's not perfect. Okay, I don't want to move the paint anymore because I'm getting these weird looking cells down here off the top of this corner here from where I was tipping it back. It's not perfect, and there aren't a whole lot of cells right now. But one thing about that oil, when you put it in your paints, as the paint dries, your cells will get larger and more cells will come up. They're not perfectly round, but they are so much better. It's the best cells I've gotten so far. So this looks like a little Star Wars spaceship. Oh, my son would kill me. It's, I don't know what kind of, I know it's from Star Wars. I just don't know what kind it is. I'm not crazy about that, but for me to get rid of that, I would have to really overstretch this cluster of cells up here, and these are halfway decent. They're like 3 or 4 different colors, and then they're kind of the cells I'm going for. So I am, what I promised before I started it, I promised myself if I liked 70% of it, I was gonna leave it, let it dry, not try to fix anything. Oh, I should have a recording of that when I'm actually trying to fix things. I think, oh, I'll just do this, and then just doing this turns into 2 hours later, scraping off an entire canvas of paint. Okay. And this stripe here in the middle is a little cloudy looking, but I don't mind it. It kind of has, it's just a mix of the white with the darker shade of blue. And just cleaning up my edges, a couple corners. And I don't exactly hate it. I kind of like it. I'm just trying to get some of the paint that matches the corners. I am really liking this. Hey, hey, what do you know? I'll take you down and give it a little closer look here. Just a second. Looking for any other big bubbles. Hope you don't have a huge glare on the canvas. Sorry if you do. Okay. Okay, so here, try to keep you at an angle so you don't see the glare. Here are the cells that I really like. See how they're different colors, little bullseyes. These are cells I was telling you that they're kind of different over here. They don't make full circles. They're like little half moon cells. It's interesting. Never seen anything like that before. So of course, it's gonna come up on my painting. Over here is, let's see if I can get the camera over there without the glare, sorry. the little caterpillar looking cells, but in tipping them, they turn less caterpillar. I'm not totally hating those. Don't like those at all. It's okay. Stretch that out any longer to become a stripe, and I'd like it better. That is kind of what I've been going for all of this time. Who knew? I just needed to set my mind to get better at something, and I actually would. Of course, I say that now. We'll see what happens next time. Thanks for sharing your time with me, you guys. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't liked it and you like it, go ahead and hit the like button, the thumbs up. So all that's left now is for me to sit back and watch the paint dry and not touch it again. Thanks all. See you next time.